Hello! Today is the second day of my quarantine art projects. Project number 2 is going to be draw a tea party illustration. And we are going to be doing it using watercolor and pencil brushes on Adobe Fresco on an iPad or a tablet, whichever you're using. I'm also really happy to announce that my project now is sponsored by the Brick Lane Gallery in London, which means that if you participate and you draw some artwork in response to my prompts and post your artwork on Instagram and hashtag #drawwithanya, the gallery director will be choosing one of the entries, and this artwork will be exhibited in one of the upcoming exhibitions at the Brick Lane Gallery, completely free of charge. So it's a great chance to be noticed. And it's basically a watercolor wash on the background and then a pencil detail on top of that on a separate layer. Let me show you how to do this sort of drawing. So we are going to draw the background layer first. And we're going to do that with one of Adobe's amazing live brushes. And I'm going to use watercolor soft wash brush. This is an amazing brush. You see that it acts like a real watercolor in the way that it mixes together. You can also manage the flow, so you can make it less transparent and more transparent. You can add more depth like with real watercolor, and you can mix the colors together. There we go. So experiment with the brush shape as you're doing this, and the water flow, and also the transparency. Once you're happy with the background, what we're going to do is maybe use an eraser tool if you need to just fix a few little things. But I personally like it when it's a little bit uneven, so I'm not going to change it too much. And then we're going to use Lock Transparency tool. So if you click Lock Transparency, and then either you can try and add a different color for a little bit of depth. So for example, you can add a little bit of orange to this one. Because I lock transparency, what it means is whatever I draw stays within this shape. It doesn't go outside of this shape. And then my favorite part is to use a pencil tool. I'm going to use just the basic sketching brush, pencil brush from here, and I'm going to be adding some details to this illustration. This pencil brush is really lovely. It has different textures. For example, if you tilt it, use it flat, it will create a flat pencil texture, and if you use it like this, then it will be a more precise pencil texture. So we're going to be adding some interesting details to the spot with the pencil brush. And you can spend as much or as little time as you wish on this step. It's really satisfying when you're painting to watch it. You can also, with real watercolor, you can just use water. If you set the opacity very low with this brush, it actually does become like just water. Like you see how it's sort of mixed together. It's really cool. But the good thing, of course, is unlike real watercolor, you can then erase it and erase a little bit if you're not happy with it. But I kind of like that it, you know, it doesn't go exactly sort of very precise. I think that's how real watercolor acts. And yeah, drawing teapot. So I'm doing the lid on a separate layer because if I did the lid on this layer, it was all mixed together, which is actually kind of cute. But I thought that maybe it would be better if it didn't mix together, but I think I'm gonna leave it like this actually. So if I were to do it with real watercolors and pencil, I would do the wash, sort of the background first, and then I would do another layer, and then I would choose just a pencil brush. So I'm gonna use just a normal pencil brush that comes with Fresco, and then just pick black. I probably don't want it like too dark, so like something like 80% opacity, and then you can add some cute details. Actually, what's really nice thing to do if you're doing this is you can lock transparency. You lock transparency, and then when you draw, it will only draw inside this area. And I find if you're doing something like a nice little detail, it's a little bit easier, right? So I really like details and sort of making things look cute. And also sometimes when you work with real watercolors and real pencil, you can do a little bit of shading with pencil. So I'm gonna do that here as well. So after you've done doing one sort of drawing, because it's all on different layers, I'm going to merge it down. You just sort of drag it down. I'm going to delete this one because I didn't use it in the end, and delete this one. And then when it becomes a group, you can select it and you can move it around. So I'm creating a sort of layout with different teapots. I really like the transform tool because you can like flip the picture around really easily, and you can resize it. I think yeah, that's actually really useful.